Okay, so I wanted to do a video about grading your books, knowing what condition to put, knowing what to look out for, and basically just a guideline beyond what Amazon gives you on how to grade your books so that you don't lose money by grading too conservatively, and so that you don't grade too graciously, so that buyers get something that they didn't expect. So Amazon has acceptable, good, very good, like new, and new. So 5 conditions. So a new book is pretty rare. If you're going to list a book as new, then it has to be pristine. And if you don't, you may get away with it for a while, but someone will come along and they will ruin your feedback score because of it. And Amazon won't remove feedback like that, most likely. So a new book, what we do is you basically look at the book and you look for every reason why not to list it as a new book. That's the basic guideline. So you look at it, this book right here, and you probably see immediately why this is not a new book. You can see right here that fold. There's a page there that's kind of messed up. It's not a dog ear page, but it's like you could see it right there. Okay, so immediately by using that technique, looking for every single thing that could possibly be wrong that would make it not new, you've automatically gone down to like new. Okay, so just that, okay, it's close enough, it's like new. Now you could check this side, and you've got a little issue there, nothing too bad. Over here, nothing too bad. And right here, already put the label on, and you can see dust jackets in pretty good shape. So this would be a like new book. Okay. This book, for example, right here, again, you can see immediately this is not a new book. You can see that there is a couple minor dog ear pages right here, and if you can fix them somewhat, you can. This is really not too bad. So this book right here, it's close to a like new, but it's not quite there. You can see the fold right here in the binding, and you can see just basically, you can just tell the book's been read, and maybe a little bit of discoloration. So this book I would grade very good. And you can also see right here, there's a little fold on the front cover. So this is a book that I would grade very good. Moving on to this book. Now, what do you think you would grade a book like this? It's clean, so that's good. But it has one huge issue. It's warped. You can see right here that these pages are just, it's like a wave. Okay? And it may be something you can fix, because this isn't like an excessive case of it. So you might be able to do something like this and kind of hold it there for a little bit, or you can put it under some really heavy textbooks, or even put like a giant brick or something on top of them, and that can help sometimes. But in this condition, this is basically automatically acceptable. it sucks, trust me. I hate to list it acceptable, but you really don't have a choice when it's like that. So I would probably try to fix it, because this isn't too bad, and then hopefully grade it a little higher. So warping is terrible, terrible. If your book is warped, you might want to reconsider even listing it at all. There are two things that will make your books questionable whether you should even list it. One is warping, and the second one is water damage. Water damage is another one that's just awful, and most of the time I won't even bother listing a book that has water damage unless it's super valuable. And it's always, if you do list a book that has water damage or is warped, you have to disclose it. Always disclose it in the listing so people know exactly what they're getting, so you don't mess up your feedback score for no reason. Moving on to this book right here, you can see that this book is clean. The pages have no markings or highlighting. So just looking at it from here, it would be probably a very good condition book. But when we get down here, you can see the bottom is just folded up. Okay, and this is another thing that it just sucks, okay, because this book right here, I would want to list very good, but seeing this, and you can kind of like try to push it down, but a lot of times you just can't get it, and most of the time, unless it's expensive, it's just not worth dealing with it. You know, you're going to probably sell hundreds, if not thousands of books eventually anyway, so your time's the most valuable thing. So this thing right here, along with the other flaws, would end up, unfortunately, making this a good condition book. Moving on to this one right here. This one is really in really good shape. There's a little bit of dust jacket wear in the corner here, but it's nothing too bad. It's clean, has no stains. You can see, I mean, the pages, it looks like it's barely ever been read, if at all. So right now we're like new, even with that little bit of dust jacket wear. But then here we got a mark right down here. That stupid little mark right there just dropped you down to very good. Okay, so this book right here, I would grade very good. And finally, this book right here, Great Lakes Quilts, again, pretty clean. The pages are clean, the pages are crisp. Okay, if you have clean pages and you have crisp pages and you have no other serious detriments to the book, in other words, you just have maybe some minor wear here and there, you're pretty much automatically at very good. Okay, unless you have something major going on. Pages are clean, the pages are crisp, you're at a very good condition book. Okay, so this one right here, this would be a very good condition book. So besides that, I got a few things written down that I just wanted to talk about. Few different things you'll run across with books. Dog-ear pages. If you have a book with dog-ear pages, and this just happens to be a reject book that I'm going to be donating down the street, so I can show you. Dog-ear pages is exactly how it sounds. It's pages like this. I'm sure you've seen this all the time. This is terrible, guys. Like, if you do this to your books, you really shouldn't do that to your books. You know, just get a bookmark or something and just do that, because this is, I mean, once you do that, that's never coming out. I mean, you pretty much just, you know, it's done. That is never going to come out. And sometimes I'll find books and they're like you find books like that, and you go down here, then they've got a million, like, and they're just like this, right? mean, if you find a book and it's just like dog ear pages everywhere, you really can't fix that. You can't fix the dog ear pages. So if it's really bad, it pretty much just drops you down to acceptable off the bat. And the reason at first I didn't think that, and I was like, it'd probably still be good. But I went over a lot of feedback for booksellers. And one of the things that I see a lot of complaints about, people hate the dog ear pages, especially when it's excessive. People get pissed off when they get a book that's graded a certain way and it's got a ton of dog ears. So watch out for that. If it's minimal, just a little corner here, you can kind of fix it, and it could be at best, a book with dog ear pages is very good. That's if like everything else is perfect. Okay, and water damage, automatic, acceptable, as I said before, and you have to disclose it if you want to keep your feedback rating intact, and you might want to reconsider listing it at all. X-Library. So I don't have any X-Library books with me right now, but the first thing off the bat that you're going to want to know is having an X-Library book immediately off the bat lowers your chance of selling that book by a significant amount. It just does, period. People like to buy things in good condition, and things in higher condition get you more money. That's true of almost anything of used condition. But X-Library books in particular, I'm not saying they won't sell. They sell and I buy them. But you want to be extra cautious in what you buy. If you normally buy up to a 2 million rank book and it's X-Library you're looking at, you might want to consider only going up to 1 million. Or if you usually buy books, $8 and above, you might want to raise that to $11 or $12. So that's all I'm saying. So now, X-Library books, if they're pristine, basically if they're like new, but they just have like the library card or something like that, I will go up to very good. And a lot of people might not want to do that. If you have any doubts, don't go up to very good at all. Just stay at good or acceptable. But if it's like absolutely pristine, first, I disclose that it's X-Library. Second, I pretty much mention that it looks like it's never been taken out at all. And it is X-Library, but it appears pristine otherwise. Okay? So it's very rare that will happen. But every now and then, I will list a book very good if it's X-Library and it's like perfect. Okay? Normally, though, if you have an X-Library book and you have no highlighting, no marks on the pages, nothing really too bad, it's pretty much good, right? So most of the library books I get, I rate good, and you disclose that it's X-Library. So now if you have an X-Library book and it has any kind of markings at all, I mean even a couple pages, they have highlighting, they have notes written on it, underlining, anything like that, you're at acceptable automatically, okay? Because that's just basically, how it works. So if you have an X-Library book, you have any kind of markings, it's acceptable. If you have an X-Library book and the pages are clean, and there's nothing really excessive going on there, then it could be good. And if it's absolutely amazing, pristine, you could go up to very good, but you never want to do like new on a library book, X-Library book. You never want to do it. You see some people doing it every now and then. It's not a good idea. Okay, so warped is another thing. Is absolutely terrible. Drops you to acceptable right off the bat. Dust jacket wear depends. Okay, so dust jacket wear can be, could be mild to excessive. Dust jacket wear could be, you could have a like new book still. If it's a minor dust jacket wear, you should kind of disclose it a little bit if it's kind of questionable. But you don't want to go crazy disclosing every flaw, and I'll get into that in a second. Because when you're selling, I'll get into kind of like tips on grading your books, because I just happen to have a very good sell-through rate on used books because of the way I grade them and the way I describe them in my condition notes. My sell-through rate's just very good. My used books sell very well, so I'll get into that. So dust jacket wear, it depends. No dust jacket, if the book has no dust jacket at all, you really should rate it no higher than good. You really shouldn't. You may be very good. Some people do very good. I wouldn't. And loose binding. So that's one of the other kind of like red flags. If you have a loose binding, you probably don't even want to list it. But if it's kind of mild and it's worth a lot of money, then you can disclose it, but definitely disclose it and it's automatically acceptable. All right, so on to kind of like tips that I have for just your condition notes. So I'm not going to get into everything that I do, but I will give you some basic pointers. If your book does not have something terrible wrong with it, like water damage, like it being completely warped, okay, like a binding with pages falling off. If you don't have a book that has those major problems, don't get into every little problem with the fucking book. People do that, and it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot just based on human nature. Whether you realize it or not, when you're writing a condition note, you're selling your book. You have to sell that book. People aren't stupid, okay? They know they're buying a used book. They're trying to save money. They know it's going to have some flaws. You don't have to say, oh, well, it's got this little corner crease right here, and then, you know, there's this minor little discoloration down here, and, you know, it's got just, you don't have to do that shit. Don't do it, okay? But if, of course, by all means, if you have one of the major 3 issues, disclose it, absolutely. Okay, so one condition I'll give you that is a good thing to put, like let's say you have a book, you want to grade it very good condition. Very simply, my phone cut out there, so yeah, one condition note that I'll let you know that works really well. If you have a book and it's in very good condition, what you can say, and the pages are clean and the pages are, you know, they're crisp, very simply, clean, crisp pages with a tight binding. That simple. And if you're FBA, you can mention real quickly, ships directly from Amazon. It's eligible for free Super Saver shipping, you can put, and you can mention something about free 2-day shipping for Prime members if you really want to. But I would mention that it ships directly from Amazon, so they know for sure they're not dealing with a third-party seller. Okay, and I would just mention, just very quickly, you're mentioning the positives of the book, okay? Because you don't have to mention all the little flaws, like the little issues in it, right? Because it's very good. The pages are crisp, the pages are clean. That's like, and the binding is tight. I mean, what else do people need to know? I mean, you're telling them everything, and you're not getting into every little flaw with the book. People remember, you know, what you say. And, you know, if you never see like a sales guy coming in, you know, telling you everything wrong about his product. People just don't do that. You know, it's just, and you are selling your book. You are, I mean, make no mistake, you are up against 5-10 other people, most likely, of the same condition book that you're trying to sell. And price isn't the only thing. So, okay, so that's one condition note you can put. If all those things are true, you can put that. It works amazingly for me. My books that are in very good condition, I usually use some variant of that myself, and they sell all the time. Okay, and one more tip for your condition notes. The worst thing you can possibly do is leave your condition note blank. Used conditions on books, anyone that's bought a used book knows that there's a lot of variance here, and that's the reason why I made the video. You can order a very good book from one seller and get one thing, a very good book from another seller and get a completely different quality book. So that's one of the reasons why I made the video, and that's why you can't leave your condition note blank. Don't leave it up to them to imagine what very good is. Okay, tell them what very good is. And if there is an issue that could cause an issue, disclose it immediately. Ex-library, disclose it. loose binding, disclose it. Water damage, disclose it. Missing the dust jacket, disclose it. You know, those things, absolutely. Okay, but you know, a little fold on, like a very minor fold on like one of the pages, or you know, like a small little you know, crease, or like, you know, don't get into that stuff. It's not going to help you, and you're probably going to lose the sale because of it. Someone else is going to sell their book first. Okay, so absolutely don't leave your condition note blank. If you use something like Inventory Lab, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I'm a huge fan of Inventory Lab. I use it all the time to list books. It has condition notes that you can set, and they'll be saved in there. So when I put a book, I click very good. I have all my commonly used condition notes. I click it, hit submit, put in the price, and I'm done. Label prints out, and etc., etc. But bottom line is, it has that option. So I think other programs have that too. I think Scam Power might have something like that, but I know Inventory Lab does. So you know, save your most commonly used condition notes, and you know, don't get into the negative with your used books. This was the main thing I'm trying to say here. Don't get into every little thing that's wrong. Okay, and grade them accurately. Don't grade overly conservative. You know, if you're unsure, and it's kind of like, it's sort of very good, but it's like very good minus, then you can grade good, right? That's when you want to grade conservative, when it's kind of on the fence, and that will happen every now and then. Okay, and so that's a time when you can grade conservative. Otherwise, grade accurately. Don't grade conservative as hell on every book you have, and then number one, you're losing money if you do that. That's number one. Number two, you're giving customers an inaccurate picture of what books are supposed to be in that condition. If you put all your like new books as good, then customers are going to think they're going to get that all the time. And then when they don't, the people that really list their good books as good, they're going to get negative feedback, and it's just going to cause this whole ordeal. It's not good for anybody. So just, you know, if you're not sure and it's kind of on the fence, then of course, you know, grade it, be conservative. But otherwise, you know, just grade accurately. You know, use some of the advice that I gave you maybe. Amazon has their own information on their website on how you should be grading used items. Go by that, and you know, you should be fine. So it's something I just want to do a video about. I've had well over 1,000 orders since I've started this, you know, 5-6 months ago, that were just books. 1,000 orders. Some of those were, you know, multiple copies. So you know, and you know, I've really never had a problem. The one time I can say I had a problem, if you mention a flaw, like you say, oh, 2 1/4-inch tears in a dust jacket on the book. Especially with dust jackets, that's the other thing. Don't get into specific flaws, too specific, like, oh, a inch-long tear in the dust jacket. Especially if you're FBA, you don't know what the FBA workers are going to do when they're handling your books. Okay, I sent one in, I put that, and I know this from experience now. This is how I'm telling you this. And I got like a feedback. I was able to get it adjusted. But one of the workers ended up mishandling the book, and there was a huge tear on the side that wasn't there. Okay, and because I described it, you know, so accurately, you know, that was a reason for them to say something. The book was still in the condition that I put, even with the tear that the worker caused, but because I was so specific, it was not as described. It was not as described, bottom line. So that was a reason for someone to give you a negative feedback. If there's wear to it, you'll notice a lot of people, they simply say, some wear, but overall X condition. Some wear, but overall very good condition. Some wear, but overall good condition. Things like that. You want to be somewhat vague, at least, you know, unless it's, like I said, one of the huge things. You don't need to get into it, you know, that much. So, those are my tips. Hopefully it helped you out. If you learned something, like the video, subscribe for more, get more videos to be notified, and I will check you later with another video.